everyone, and welcome to my first episode of Sketchbook Diaries, where I teach you different drawing techniques, exercises, and things that will just help you get better at your artwork overall, whether you're a painter, drawer, sculptor, photographer. You know, drawing is kind of the basis to all of that. If you're good at drawing, you'll probably be good at those other things as well. Because with drawing, you can learn about value, composition, structuring things, and just building things up. It's really easy to have a sketchbook and be able to draw pretty much anywhere, whether you're on a plane, on a bus, in a car, at your house, watching TV. It's just a really convenient way to get better at art. So with the Sketchbook Diaries series, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with exercises that you can do, or techniques that you can do, as a foundation to get better at drawing. As we go on with newer and newer episodes, I'll get more complex with some of my instruction and techniques, and we'll just get better and better together. The first thing I want to do is talk about creating a value scale. You know, you got a sketchbook like this where you've got, I'm using a gray toned paper. So it's, if you want to see it specifically here, it's a Strathmore toned gray paper, which is really nice because with this gray paper, you can start right at a mid-tone value and then work both ways, darker and lighter. Before we get into value a little bit, I just want to explain what value is. Value is the brightness or the lightness of your colors. If you think about value, this white here on the bark of these trees is a light value. The shadows down here are a dark value. And when you create a piece of art, you want to have a large range of values in order to make things look three-dimensional. If your image looks really flat, it's probably because you're kind of all on the same value scale. You're all on that one value, and there's not enough variation there. So it's kind of similar to contrast, but value just means the brightness or the lightness of your colors. So one thing that's really good that you can do to get better at value is to draw a value scale. And I'm going to do it here below my drawing just because that way we can then compare the value scale to what I've got up here. The thing you want to do is just take a ruler, and you got a variety of pencils here, drawing pencils. And for example, here's a 9B pencil. And we'll go with the opposite here with an 8H pencil. I'll just talk about that really quickly here. 9B just means the lead is soft, and you can get darker values with your B pencils because the lead is softer. The higher the number, the softer the lead. HB is the very middle pencil. H is the hardness of lead, so you have harder lead in the H pencils. And the same thing goes, the higher the number on the H pencils, the harder the lead is. So you're going to get a lot lighter value with an 8H pencil than you are a 9B. And I'll talk about that more as we create the value scale itself. What I'm going to do is take a B pencil, and I'll just sharpen it up. And I'm going to take a ruler, and I'm just going to draw a couple lines here. Okay, and then we'll just connect those lines up at the end. And then what I'm going to do is just create some boxes. Okay, so what we're going to do is create a value scale here, and the idea is to take one box at the end here and make it white, and at the other end this one's going to be black. The exercises to do is to try to get this to transition. In the middle here it should be this gray color. So we're going to transition this from white down to this mid-tone gray, and then it's going to start darkening up to this dark black down here. So first thing I'll do is, actually I'm just going to make this box a similar width, just so it's not distracting. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 9B pencil, which is the pencil that I have that is the darkest lead. So not only is this exercise good at value, it's also going to help you learn what different pencils can do. Okay, and get it pretty dark. Okay, so that's pretty dark. And then next what I'm going to do is take, I've got a Prismacolor white pencil, sharpen that up a little bit, and down here I want to make this one white. Okay, so I'm going to put a lot of pressure on here. Make that white. So okay, so we've got two opposing values here. We've got a lot of contrast. We've got the pure white and the pure black. Now the hard part is we have to transition this white down to the gray and then transition it back up to the black. And what we want to do is use a variety of pencils. For our white, it's going to be all about pressure, but for our blacks, it will be all about different pencils. So I'm going to start with just the pressure thing. I'm going to sharpen my white pencil up again. And what I want to do when I do this exercise is I just go slowly. I go diagonal, then up and down. Until I get a color that's a little bit darker than my previous box. So you can see here this transitions down to this next color of white. I'm going to move now to the next box. Again, I'm going to do some diagonals. This is called hatch marks. You can do cross hatching, which would then cross back up like this. So that's why I do the horizontal, or these kind of diagonal ones, and then vertical, like that. Okay, so this one's the lightest. It's getting a little bit darker as we move down, and it will take some practice, but the amount of pressure I'm applying to this pencil is really important. You can see here, I'm not going to do the vertical lines now. I'm just going to do those diagonals. Okay, and then just a really light pressure. And then probably one more super light pressure, just slightly changing the value. Okay, now that I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, what I'm going to do is evaluate it. This one's quite bright, and this one is a lot darker. So what I'll do is I'll go over this one again. Make that a little bit lighter. Make the next one a little bit lighter. And so on. So you can start to feel the touch that you need to make something lighter, but not too light. Okay, take a look at it again, and then maybe we'll go one more time, lightening everything up. Less pressure each time as I move across. Okay, so it's transitions down to gray from white, and now we want to transition back up to the dark. And now that's when different types of pencils come in. So we've got a B pencil, 4H, 8H, that's another B, and a 9B. What I'm going to do is grab one more B pencil. I've got a 4B here, so I'll add the 4B into the mix. First thing I want to do is I'm going to take the hardest lead pencil that I have, which is an 8H, and we're going to start at this gray box here. We're going to leave that gray and then skip ahead. And again, we're going to do those hatch marks. really, really lightly. Okay, so now this is getting a little bit darker. I'm going to do the 8H for one more box. Just apply a little bit more pressure. Then we'll do a little cross hatching. So this will help you with another technique that I'll talk about cross hatching in another video a little bit more. Okay, now I'm going to skip to a 4H, which is a little bit softer lead. Okay, so you can see how you can gradually increase the darkness with just a little bit softer lead. I'm going to go now to a B pencil. And you can make this chart longer. You can even do charts where you just do white, like 2 charts, 1 white chart, 1 black chart. That's up to you. But I just want to show you the full spectrum here. So a B pencil is a little bit softer. So this should be a little bit darker. I don't even have to apply that much more pressure. It's just that the lead is softer, so it comes out darker. Okay, and then we'll go to that 4B pencil, which is again a little bit softer. You can apply a little bit more pressure. We'll start coloring this in instead of the hatch marks. Okay, and then 9B again, and I want to try to find that value that's in between these two. And this one I pressed really hard. What I'm going to do is just do the same thing, except not press quite as hard. Get rid of that little distracting line up there. So I'm just going to keep coloring in until I find that middle value between these two. So essentially what we've done here is created a really nice value scale. And how do you use one of these value scales as well? You want to look at your drawings, especially if you're doing it on toned paper like this, which I highly recommend because it's going to make you a better artist. You can do it on white paper, and you know, but then you're starting at this value, and you have to work all these values in on top of the white paper. At least with the gray paper, you're starting right here, and you can go both ways. So what you want to do is create this value scale. You want to go from white to black, transition it nicely from one side to the other, and then you want to look at your drawing and make sure that you've got all of these values in there. Not every drawing has to have every value in there. Like there's not a whole lot of this black in here, maybe the bird or maybe a little bit of the shadow, but to really get three-dimensional looking things, especially in your paintings, you want to have a large range of values, and you can practice those in your sketchbook by practice creating these scales. If you practice creating these scales, you'll see that the more you layer your pencils, the darker or more opaque your values are, which will end up being either light or dark. The less you layer, you can see you can really create these very slight variations in your value, which is nice. I mean, you can see the difference between this and this. Even though it's slight, you would really be able to tell in like a portrait. So create a value scale like this, just a box. You can create as many boxes as you want, and just practice getting from light to dark. And you'll notice when you start doing more drawings that you'll be really good at picking out areas to leave just gray like this, or areas where you just want to take like a 8H pencil and add in, you know, little things here and there to create shadow and more shape in your drawings. So a value scale is a great place to start, especially if you're new to drawing, or maybe you've drawn a lot and you've never really put a lot of different values in your pictures. A value scale is a really nice place to start. Practice with different pencils. Maybe you can make a whole scale with just your 4B pencil or just your 8H pencil and see how dark can you get that one pencil, or how light can you get it. So it's a really cool thing to practice, and even though it's kind of boring just creating a little scale like this, it will be really effective in your drawings down the road. That covers the value scale. If you have any questions, you can visit my website at timgagnon.com, or you can just email me at tim@timgagnon.com. I hope everybody gets out their sketchbooks and really starts drawing a lot. You'll see vast improvements in all of your artwork. Like I said, whether you're a sculptor, a painter, practicing drawing is going to make you better at all those things, because you're going to learn more about value, more about scale, composition, and shape. So I'm really glad you joined me today on my first episode of Sketchbook Diaries. I hope you subscribe to my channel and join in on the next drawing exercise that I tackle, which will be next week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.